standing by the front door with your keys between your hands, and I knew by the way you looked at me, you didn't understand how a love could feel so heavy when we never made it real. How two people could be closer than they ever dared to feel. You were staring at the floor like the words were hard to find, and I wanted to say I love you, but I swallowed every line. You were waiting for a reason to believe that I would stay, but I think we both were frightened of the price we'd have to pay. If you had stayed a little longer, if you'd put your fears aside, maybe all the things we wanted would have finally come alive. If you stayed tonight, would you finally let me hold you? Would you tell me all the secrets that you always kept inside? If you stayed tonight, would you let your heart surrender? Would you stop pretending that you never needed mine? If you stayed tonight, maybe we could find forever in the space between the words we were always too afraid to say. If you stayed tonight, maybe love would have a chance, but you turned around and left me before we ever got the chance. I remember all the evenings when you called me just to talk. You would tell me about your problems while you walked around the block. You said I was the only person who could ever calm your mind, but whenever I got closer, you would leave me far behind. You were always almost with me, almost mine and almost gone, like a song without an ending, like a night without the dawn. And I spent my days believing that someday you'd finally see that the person you were running from was the person you needed. If you had stayed a little longer, if you put your fears aside, maybe all the things we wanted would have finally come alive. If you stayed tonight, would you finally let me hold you? Would you tell me all the secrets that you always kept inside? If you stayed tonight, would you let your heart surrender? Would you stop pretending that you never needed mine? And if you stayed tonight, maybe we could find forever in the space between the words we were always too afraid to say. If you stayed tonight, standing by the window with your shadow on the wall, saying nothing like the silence was the loudest thing of all. I could feel you getting closer, then you slowly stepped away, like you had 1,000 reasons not to tell me what you'd say. There was something in your breathing, something trembling in your hands, like you wanted me to hold you, but you couldn't let me in. And I saw it in your eyes when you looked at me that night. You were trying not to love me, but you couldn't make it right. Maybe we were one confession from a different kind of life. Maybe if you'd stayed a moment, you'd have never said goodbye. It's the way you almost loved me, like your heart was calling mine, like you wanted to surrender, but you left it all behind. It's the way you almost held me, then you let me disappear. Now I'm living with the feeling of the love that wasn't here. It's the way you almost loved me that I can't forget tonight. You were standing right beside me, but you never crossed the line. I remember how you whispered that you didn't know what to do. You said love could be a prison if you gave your heart too soon. I told you I wasn't asking for a promise or a name. I just wanted you to tell me if you felt the same. But you turned your face toward midnight and you stared into the rain, like the sky outside the window could wash away the pain. I reached out but stopped myself when I saw you closing down. Somewhere between us was a feeling we were both afraid to sound. Maybe we were one confession from a different kind of life. Maybe if you'd stayed a moment, you'd have never said goodbye. It's the way you almost loved me, like your heart was calling mine, like you wanted to surrender, but you left it all behind. It's the way you almost held me, then you let me disappear. Now I'm living with the feeling of the love that wasn't here. It's the way you almost loved me that I can't forget tonight. You were standing right beside me, but you never crossed the If you had stayed, would I have known you? If I had asked, would you have told me? Was I the one you were afraid of? Or was it love you couldn't hold? Now every night I hear the silence of all the words we never said, and every dream still leaves me wondering what would have happened if you stayed. It's the way you almost loved you left it all behind. It's the way you almost held me, like you never wanted tears. Now I'm holding on to pieces of a love that disappeared. It's the way you almost love me, still it echoes in my soul. You were standing right beside me, but you never let me know. It's the way you almost love me that still keeps me awake. All the things we could have been, all the chances that we gave. It's the way you almost love me, and I wish you would have stayed just a little longer, baby, just before you walk. You were almost here, you were almost mine, but almost isn't love, and love can't live on almost. I saw you walking down the street on a Sunday afternoon. You were wearing that old sweater that I bought for you too soon. You were laughing with somebody, and I almost called your name, but I stood there in the distance and I let you walk away. You looked happier than ever, like the world had treated you kind. And I wondered if you ever think about the life we left behind. I could still remember clearly every word you used to say. Funny how a heart remembers what the mind tries to erase. I don't know if you remember how we used to be, but I still carry every moment that you gave to me. I still know your smile, even after all this time. I still hear your laughter when the night gets quiet inside. I still know your eyes, I still know the way you hide when you're hurting underneath, the way you always did with me. I still know your smile, even though you're not mine. And maybe you don't think of me, but you're still somewhere in my mind. I don't need you to come back, I just need to understand how somebody I once knew so well can feel like a stranger now. I remember all the mornings when you wake up next to me. You would open up the curtains, let the sunlight set you free. You would dance around the kitchen with your coffee in your hand, and I'd watch you from the doorway, thinking I had found my home. Now somebody else is waiting for your footsteps at their door. Somebody else gets to hear you when you're laughing like before. that you found a better life. But some nights I still remember how your hand once fit in mine. I don't know if you remember how we used to be, but I still carry every moment that you gave to me. I still know your smile, even after all this time. I still hear your laughter when the night gets quiet inside. I still know your eyes, I still know the way you hide when you're hurting underneath, the way you always did with me. I still know your smile, even though you're not mine. And maybe you don't think of me, but you're still somewhere in my mind. I don't need you to come back, I just need to understand how somebody I once knew so well can feel like a stranger now. Maybe I was just a chapter you were ready to forget. Maybe I was just a lesson that you haven't learned from yet. Maybe somewhere in your memories I'm still standing by your side. Maybe when you hear our old song you remember how we tried. If you ever miss me, you don't have to let me know. Some things are better left in silence, some things are better left alone. I just hope that when you think of me, you don't remember all the pain. I hope you see the nights we left before we lost our way. I still know your smile, even after all this time. I still hear your laughter when the night gets quiet inside. I still know your eyes, I still know the way you hide when you're hurting underneath, the way you always did with me. I still know your smile, even though you're not mine. And maybe you don't think of me, but you're still somewhere in my mind. The last time you held me, you didn't say a word. You just stayed there beside me, like silence couldn't hurt. I could feel your heart beating against my chest that night, and I wished I could stop time before you said goodbye. You were looking out the window at the lights across the street, and I wondered what you saw there when you weren't looking at me. Maybe you saw a future where I wasn't by your side. Maybe you were already leaving long before that night. I should have held you tighter, I should have asked you to stay, but something in your silence told me you'd already made your way. The last time you held me, I thought we'd have another night. I thought tomorrow would bring you back. I thought we'd make it right. The last time you held me, I didn't know it was the end. I was holding on to someone who was already letting go again. The last time you held me, I still felt your love inside. Maybe that's what hurts the most. You were leaving while you cried. The last time you held me, I wish I'd known what I know now. I would have stayed there in your arms and never let you down. I remember how you whispered that you didn't want to fight. You said maybe we were tired, maybe love had lost its light. But I could hear the hesitation in every word you tried to say. Like a part of you was hoping I would find a reason for you to stay. I reached for your hand slowly, but you didn't reach for mine. And the distance between our fingers felt like the end of our lives. You stood there by the doorway with your eyes upon the floor, and I knew that if you left then you wouldn't come back anymore. I should have held you tighter, I should have asked you to stay, but something in your silence told me you'd already made your way. The last time you held me, I thought we'd have another night. I thought tomorrow would bring you back. I thought we'd make it right. The last time you held me, I didn't know it was the end. I was holding on to someone who was already letting go again. The last time you held me, I still felt your love inside. Maybe that's what hurts the most. You were leaving while you cried. The last time you held me, I wish I'd known what I know now. I would have stayed there in your arms and never let you down. If I could go back to that moment in the night, I'd tell you I was sorry for every time I made you cry. I'd tell you I still loved you, I'd tell you I was afraid. I'd tell you that the future wasn't worth what we had made. Maybe you would have stayed, maybe you would have gone, maybe nothing would have changed. Maybe I was wrong, but I would have said the words that I was too afraid to say. I would have told you I loved you before you walked away. Now every keep reliving that last moment, wondering where we went wrong. The last time you held me, I thought we'd have another night. I thought tomorrow would bring you back. I thought we'd make it right. The last time you held me, I didn't know it was the end. I was holding on to someone who was already letting go again. The last time you held me, I still felt your love inside. Maybe that's what hurts the most. You were sitting on the edge of the bed we used to share, with your hands between your knees and your eyes looking somewhere. I could feel the distance growing, and though you never moved away, there were words behind your silence that you couldn't bring yourself to say. You were looking at the ceiling like the answers were up there, and I wanted to reach for you, but I didn't know if you still cared. So I waited in the quiet for a truth I knew would hurt. But the hardest thing about losing you was hearing nothing first. Maybe you were trying to protect me, maybe you were scared of what I'd hear, but every word you left unspoken was the reason you disappeared. It was the words you never said that keep me awake at night, all the things you kept inside that you couldn't make me understand. It was the words you never said that I still hear in my head. Every I love you, you swallowed. Every please don't leave, you never said. It was the words you never said that made the silence feel so loud. You were standing right beside me, but your heart was somewhere else. And I would have stayed forever if you'd only let me know. But you left me with the questions and the words you never said. I remember when you told me that you didn't want to hurt me. You said sometimes loving someone means you have to set them free. But I never understood it till I watched you walk away. Because letting go of someone doesn't mean the love will fade. You were crying in the hallway, but you try to hide your tears. And I knew that you were hurting just as much as I was then. I wanted you to tell me that you didn't want to leave, but you turned your face away and took the last thing I believed. Maybe you were trying to protect me, maybe you were scared of what I'd hear, but every word you left unspoken was the reason you disappeared. It was the words you never said that keep me awake at night, all the things you kept inside. but your heart was somewhere else. And I would have stayed forever if you'd only let me know. But you left me with the questions and the words you never said. It was the words you never said that keep me awake at night. All the things you kept inside that you couldn't make me understand. It was the words you never said that I still hear in my head. Every I love you, you swallowed every please don't leave you never said. It was the words you never said that made the silence feel so loud. You were standing right beside me, but your heart was somewhere else. I remember the way you looked at me that evening by the door, like you wanted to say something you never said before. There was rain against the window and the room was turning cold, but the warmth inside your eyes was the only thing I knew. You were standing there so quietly with your fingers on your coat, and I knew that you were leaving even though you never spoke. I wanted to reach for you, but I couldn't make a sound. So I watched you take a breath and slowly turn around. Maybe love was in the moment, maybe we were just too late. Maybe all the things we wanted were standing right there in our way. It was the way you looked at me, like you wanted me to stay, like you needed me to hold you, but you couldn't ask me to. It was the way you looked at me before you turned away, like 1,000 words were hiding in the tears you couldn't show. It was the way you looked at me that I still remember now. You were standing right beside me, but I couldn't reach you somehow. It was the way you looked at me, like you loved me one last time before you walked into the darkness and left your heart behind. I remember how you told me that you never wanted pain. You said every time you loved someone, you ended up the same. So I promised I would never give you reasons to regret. But I guess the things we promise aren't the things we can protect. You would hold me in the morning, then disappear by night, like you couldn't make your heart decide if this was wrong or right. And I spent so many evenings trying to understand why the person who was closest was the one I couldn't hold. Maybe love was in the moment, maybe we were just too late. Maybe all the things we wanted were standing right there in our way. It was the way you looked at me, like you wanted me to stay, like you needed me to hold you, but you couldn't ask me to. It was the way you looked at me before you turned away, like 1,000 words were hiding in the tears you couldn't show. It was the way you looked at me that I still remember now. You were standing right beside me, but I couldn't reach you somehow. It was the way you looked at me, like you loved me one last time, before you walked into the darkness and left your heart behind. If I could go back to that night again, I'd ask you to stay. I'd ask where you'd been. I'd tell you the truth, I was scared too. I was afraid of losing someone like you. Maybe if we'd been honest, maybe if we let it show, maybe all the love between us wouldn't have had to go. But you kept your heart protected, and I kept mine locked away. Two people holding on to love while letting love escape. It was the way you looked at me, like you wanted me to stay, like you needed me to hold you, but you couldn't ask me to. It was the way you looked at me before you turned away, like 1,000 words were hiding in the tears you couldn't show. It was the way you looked at me that I still remember now. You were standing right beside me, but I couldn't reach you somehow. It was the way you looked at me, like you loved me one last time, before you walked into the darkness and left your heart behind. It was the way you looked at me before you said, I remember how you used to say my name like it was home. You would call me in the evening just to tell me you were alone. We would talk until the sunrise about dreams we'd never chase, and I'd listen to your heartbeat while you slowly fell asleep. You were always next to me, but somehow I knew you'd leave. There was something in your silence that you never let me see. Still I held on to the feeling, like a fool afraid to lose every little piece of heaven that I found inside of you. We were young enough to dream, but too afraid to make it real. And I wonder if you remember how it felt to feel when we were something, before we became strangers, before your touch became a memory and your voice became a distant sound. When we were something, before you stopped believing, before the love between us turned into a ghost we couldn't hold. When we were something, I thought we'd never end. I thought I'd always know you, I thought you'd always be my friend. But somewhere in the silence, we lost what we once knew. And now I only remember the person I was with you. I still pass the little corner where we used to meet at night, where you'd smile across the table underneath the yellow lights. You would tell me all your secrets, I would promise they were safe. Now I wonder if you miss me when those memories awake. There were times I almost told you that I couldn't let you go, but I thought that if I said it, you would turn and disappear. So I kept my heart in silence while you slowly drifted away. And the words I never told you are the ones I hear today. We were young enough to dream, but too afraid to make it real. And I wonder if you remember how it felt to feel when we were something, before we became strangers, before your touch became a memory and your voice became a distant sound. When we were something, before you stopped believing, before the love between us turned into a ghost we couldn't hold. When we were something, I thought we'd never end. I thought I'd always know you, I thought you'd always be my friend. But somewhere in the silence, we lost what we once knew. And now I only remember the person I was with you. Would you see the person you once wanted me to be? Or would you walk right past me like we never shared a thing? Like the nights we spent together were just dreams we couldn't keep. When we were something before we became strangers, before your touch became a memory and your voice became a distant sound. When we were something before you stopped believing, before the love between us turned into a ghost we couldn't hold. What we once knew, and now I only remember the person I was with you. When we were something, I still remember your face. I still remember how it felt when you were standing. You were standing in my doorway on a cold December night, with the rain upon your shoulders and your eyes beneath the light. You said you didn't mean to come, but somehow you were here, and I could hear the words you swallowed in the silence of the room. You took off your coat slowly, and you placed it on the chair, like you knew that you were welcome, like you knew that I still cared. Then you looked across the room, and I saw it in your eyes. You had come here for a reason, but you couldn't tell me why. Maybe you were tired of running, maybe you were tired of being alone. Maybe somewhere in your heart you were looking for a place called home. You were almost home when you stood outside my door. You were almost mine, like you never been before. Turned away from me at the very last goodbye. You were almost home, I could feel it in your hands. You were almost telling me that you finally understand. You were almost everything I had waited for so long, but you were afraid of staying, so you chose to carry on. We sat there in the darkness, talking softly through the night. You told me about the years you spent trying to survive. I told you that you didn't have to carry it alone. You looked at me and smiled, like you'd finally found your home. For a moment you were different, there was peace inside your eyes. You leaned closer to my shoulder, and I thought we'd found the time. But the morning came too quickly, and your walls came back again. You were reaching for the doorway before I could say stay. Maybe you were tired of running, maybe you were tired of being alone. Maybe somewhere in your heart you were looking for a place called home. You were almost home when you stood outside my door. You were almost mine, like you'd never been before. You were almost ready to leave your past behind, but you turned away from me at the very last goodbye. You were almost home, I could feel it in your hands. You were almost telling me that you finally understand. You were almost everything I had waited for so long, but you were afraid of staying, so you chose to carry on. If you had stayed until the morning, would you still be here today? If I had held you just a little, would you still have walked away? If I had told you I was frightened, would you finally understand that I never needed saving? I just needed you to stay. You didn't have to be perfect, you didn't have to be strong. You just had to trust the feeling, live it all alone. But you picked up your old defenses like a coat you always wore, and you walked back into the darkness that you came here to escape. You were almost home when you stood outside my door. You were almost mine, like you'd never been before. You were almost ready to leave your past behind, but you turned away from me at the very last goodbye. You were almost home, I could feel it in your hands. You were almost telling me that you finally understand. You were almost everything I had waited for. You were lying on my shoulder while the city faded out, and I wondered if you knew what my silence was about. You were tracing little circles on the back of my hand, like you wanted me to hold you, but you couldn't understand how a moment could feel endless, how a touch could feel so deep, how the words we never spoke could be the ones we couldn't keep. You were breathing next to me, but your heart was somewhere else, and I knew that I was losing you before you left yourself. There was something in between us, something neither one could name. We were standing in the middle of a fire, afraid of flame. It was close enough to touch me, but too far away to stay. And I spent so many nights wondering what we could have been in the space between us, where our story never began. I remember Sunday morning when the sunlight filled the room. You were standing by the curtains like you knew you'd leave me soon. You were talking about your future like my name was never there. But the sadness in your voice told me you were fighting scared. I could have asked you to stay, I could have told you how I felt, but sometimes love gets complicated when you're afraid of losing yourself. So I watched you take your jacket, I watched you reach for the door, and the space between us widened like it never had before. There was something in between us, something neither one could name. We were standing in the middle of a fire afraid of flame. It was a space between us where I thought we'd meet someday, where your heart could finally open and you'd never walk away. It was a space between us where I kept believing still that the love we never started was a love we always will. It was the space between us that kept pulling me inside. You were close enough to touch me, but too far away to stay. And I spent so many nights wondering what we could have been in the space between us, where our story never began. Excuses, no goodbye. Maybe I would say I love you and you'd finally say it right. But we were young, or maybe broken, or maybe love was just too much. And now the only thing between us is the memory of your touch. The love we never started was a love begins. Maybe we were almost lovers, maybe we were almost home, maybe we were almost something, but we were never truly known. Maybe you still think about me when the night gets quiet too. Maybe somewhere in the silence there's still a space for me and you. You were standing in the hallway with your jacket in your hands, and the look upon your face said you were leaving like you planned. I was waiting for an answer to a question I never asked. You were looking at the doorway like you couldn't face the past. There was silence in the room, but I heard everything, every breath you tried to hide, every word you couldn't bring. You were only one step closer to the life you said you knew, but the way you looked behind you made me think you wanted to. Maybe we were both too frightened to admit what this could be. Maybe you were scared of losing what you never let yourself keep. You never said goodbye, you just slowly disappeared. Left the door a little open, like you wanted me to wait here. You never said goodbye, you just turned and walked away. But the love inside your silence is still calling out my name. You never said goodbye, and I still don't know why. If you never really loved me, why were tears inside your eyes? You never said goodbye, you just left me with the truth that sometimes people lose each other while they're still in love. I remember all the evenings when you stayed until the dawn, talking about the things you wanted and the places you'd be gone. You would tell me about your childhood and the dreams you kept inside. Then you'd fall asleep beside me like there was nowhere else to hide. I could feel your heartbeat racing when I'd hold you in the dark. You were always getting closer, then you'd suddenly pull apart, like your heart was saying stay while your mind was saying run. And I never knew which voice would be the one you'd follow. Maybe we were both too frightened to admit what this could be. Maybe you were scared of losing what you never let yourself keep. You never said goodbye, you just slowly disappeared. Left the door a little open, like you wanted me to wait here. You never said goodbye, you had told me you needed time, I would have given you all of mine. But you said nothing, and I said nothing. We let the silence decide our lives. Now every night I hear your footsteps in every room where you once stood. And sometimes I still turn around thinking you came back, like I knew you would. You never said goodbye, you just slowly disappeared. Left the door a little open, like you wanted me to wait here. You never said goodbye, you just turned and walked away. But the love inside your silence is still calling out my name. You never said goodbye, and I still don't know why. If you never really loved me, why were tears inside your eyes? You never said goodbye, you just left me with the truth that sometimes people lose each other while they're still in love. You never said goodbye.